I would like to open and I think go right into superintendent updates, if we may.
All right, thank you. Try to keep this short and sweet. So, as you know, the flushing crews have moved along very swiftly with the new aggressive program that myself and the primary operators have come up with, and we were able to fly, for lack of better terminology, through the trunk lines using our booster stations to move the water at rates that basically Norton has never seen water move before through these pipes. And we removed many years of iron and manganese sediment that has been plaguing Norton for a while. This is a multi-step program. Now that the large trunk lines are done, our crews are still out working, flushing during the evening hours, with minimal flushing being done during the day. And the crews have moved on to the smaller side roads and smaller water mains off of these main trunk lines. And the proof is there. They're really flying with the program. So by having the trunk lines cleaned, it gives us multiple different avenues of where we can move the water to, sometimes in directions that has never been done before, utilizing some new drains that were installed or new hydrants just to make the process even simpler during the evening hours. That program typically takes between 8 and 12 weeks to take, and with the aggressive start of the flushing program that we did with multiple crews and using our booster pumps, easily we can say we've knocked 3 to 4 weeks off of that program. It's not something that we will be able to do on a regular basis because of the amount of water that is consumed during this, but we felt if there was ever a time to utilize the flushing technique that myself and the operators had come up with, definitely now was the time where we were replacing it with the clear, clean, filtered water from the treatment facility. And we have had very few calls for disruptions. The few that we did have primarily were caused by changes of direction of flow by gate operation, and were addressed accordingly with some light flushing just to clear the area. Not to say that we still won't have a few disturbances as we finish this program off just by operation of valves, but definitely the amount has diminished significantly from what we've seen in the past. So it's definitely a benefit, and it proves that it can be done, and we can remove as much as we thought we would. Look good on paper, and just to see it take shape and actually work is pretty impressive.
Well, that's very good, Frank. Along with everybody else, I want to congratulate you and the crew. I know we're waiting for this nice clean water to replace and flush the lines with for a very long time, so it must be very rewarding to you to actually take part in this first high-speed flushing, or what is your word for this?
You can come up with many different words for it. We just happen to use an aggressive flushing program. But flow rates have exceeded anything that we've been able to achieve in the past, regardless of isolation of valves and mains. Everything just worked in our favor, and I think we had a great crew that was out there that also helped move us to where we are right now.
Well, very good, and I'm glad to be here to witness the clean water going out into the system, and that's got to improve every user's water. Nobody's ever going to call and say thank you very much, but I'm going to personally say thank you very much, Frank, and you really relay that to the crew. I don't get down to the treatment plant to tell Derek and those guys that we really appreciate their hard work and same as the flushing people. I know they've experienced, let's just say, less than positive behavior from the residents in the past, and we all know in this day and age, especially now, nobody really thanks those of you guys who are in the trenches on the front line. But I'm going to say thank you very much for everybody who isn't saying it, and I will say it personally and professionally. Thank you very much.
No, I definitely appreciate that, and we'll make sure that gets passed along to each and every person that's involved with it. And it goes all around, even right down to the office secretaries that, deal with the calls when there are disturbances. Nobody's left out of the effect that flushing can have on a system. It's not just the residents that feel it. Definitely everybody that performs the work has some part in it. And, it's a good step. It's a step in the right direction. And from here, even if there are a few setbacks that happen along the way, that it's replacement water is filtered at minimal trace manganese way below the accepted DEP levels coming from the treatment plant, and we couldn't have asked for anything better other than maybe the fact that it maybe could have been done a little bit sooner. But things we're working with now, and transition from that to yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I lost you guys.
Oh, all right. Well, hopefully we still get everybody there. But, yeah, it looks like I still got 7 on the line, so I'm going to keep going there. The additional improvements, one project that is still ongoing is the Pine Street Water Main Improvement Project. The contractor there, KJS, is doing phenomenal. They are really moving as fast as anybody could have anticipated, if not faster. They run into a few sections there that, unfortunately, they do come up with small sections of ledge that has actually slowed them down in an area that every time anybody else has dug there has just been beach sand. But for the most part, this really hasn't put a dent in their forward progress. One thing that has slowed them down is a couple service lines. These are very old pipes, and a few of them actually had to be temporarily renewed just to keep water going to the residents because the pipe was in such bad shape. There was more water leaking out of the pipe than getting into the residents. So they've had a few small delays. They've had to replace some lines with temporary lines until they can get connected to the new. But other than that, they're moving along rapidly. I'm sure Tara will have an update on the average footage that's left before they make their final connection to Plain Street. I know you can hit it from a rock if you've got a good arm where you're at now. And they have passed their first few sections, pressure test and water quality sampling. Letters have been mailed out to the residents in that area that they will notice a break in water service when it's their turn to be connected from the old water main to the new main. And we have heard no comments back from the residents. In the notice, there was a paragraph that was added to the basic notice that if they had any concerns with us or the contractor going up and knocking on the door, to let them know that their service was scheduled for changeover that day. We would follow, obviously, safe distancing protocols by stepping back from the door and give them a basic ballpark idea of how long it's going to take to tie in that particular service so that they're well aware of what's going on. We gave residents the options to call the office and ask if this is a procedure that they don't feel comfortable with, and we can make some other means of notification, whether it be by phone or by scheduling. And so far, everybody is on board, and I think everybody's looking forward to having the connections to the new pipe.
Awesome.
I'll jump along a couple more things real quick. The new generator and transfer switch has been installed at the center elevated tank. It is fully operational as of yesterday morning. We are fully backed up, and we're still waiting on the delivery of the propane tank pad over at our well number 5 location. There's been a slight delay in the precast company getting out due to the COVID-19. Little birdie tells me it may actually be delivered tomorrow. We'll wait and see, and then we can get our propane supplier on the horn, and they can come out and have the tanks installed, and we can finish up whatever needs to be done to make that final connection. And I'll transition over to one more. There was a small water leak down in the woods between wells 5 and 6 that was noticed by an avid dog walker down there. Come to find out, after excavation, that it was on the same piece of pipe that was previously excavated by the contractor who performed a cut and cap on this pipe, as it was no longer going to be used as a pipe that was carrying water from the original well 5 and going to the distribution system. It was cut and capped, and the new water from well 5 was plumbed over to the treatment facility. With a small excavation, we were able to determine that the pipe that was cut and capped appeared to have shifted, and that one of the couplings at the opposite end of the pipe had actually become loose with the movement of the pipe. I was actually privileged to get out of the office and get down there in the hole and tighten it up myself. The leak has since stopped, and I think we might get charged for usage of a few wrenches, but we'll see where that goes at a later date. Tara might have an update on that. And that's about the extent of what I got for you guys.
Very good. Very good.
Awesome.
Jump in.
Anybody else having trouble hearing Luke?
Yes, I am. I can't hear him.
Yeah, take your mask
Hello?
off. There you go. There you go.
All right. Sorry, the phone was away from my face. I want to renew the notice that the blue drop vending machine will remain off until I guess we'll do another 30 days or until it seems safe to reopen it.
Okay.
I don't know the phases that our governor is going to open the state up. I don't anticipate being permanently off. I'm hoping soon, but I will go. I don't know. I maybe 30 days is too aggressive. Let's say 15 days at a time now.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I guess I'm not sure who's next with either water or sewer. I welcome all information. Maybe Tara with the water.
All right. So I'm on, right? Is that what I just heard?
That's the
Wow.
plan.
Sorry, I was taking notes. My keyboard is a little loud. All right. So as far as that's heavy tapping. All right. So our water projects, as Frank mentioned, Pine Street is going really well. The contractor is roughly about 60 feet away, or 3 sticks of pipe away from Plain Street intersection, where we're going to cap the new main and get ready for some pressure testing for that stretch, hopefully this week. They are going to be paving tomorrow. They intend to start services likely on Thursday. So exciting news to have the entire stretch from the well station all the way to Plain Street pretty much going to be wrapped up by tomorrow. So that is good news. Yeah, so they, I mean, other than the ledge the last couple weeks, they were really flying about 300-400 feet a day. So excellent news on that. We'll be wrapping up the project shorter schedule than anticipated, which is also good news even with this COVID situation. And as Frank noted, yeah, the service letters went out, and we're hoping to start those and get everybody hooked up to that new main. It'll probably take a few weeks to get everybody in. There's some longer services from the one end of the street to the opposite side for those. So we're hoping to get 3-5 services a day if they're lucky. So I think that'll probably take a couple weeks, at least 2 to 3, and we're hoping to wrap up the project probably, at least as far as the water main and temporary trench is concerned, within the next month or so. And then in the fall, they'll come back and put their permanent trench in, and then next year will be when the town comes back in for the permanent curb-to-curb overlay. So excellent news on Pine Street.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Next item on the list was the treatment plant. So as Frank mentioned, the propane tank delivery should be tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yep. And there should be some, I'm planning to be on site tomorrow to just kind of check that out and see what else has been happening out there. It's been a little while since we've had a site visit, so just want to check in. We had sent them the official punch list a few weeks back, so check in on some of that work too. And as Frank indicated also, they were out on site last week within a day of the notification that there was a potential leak. that seems to be wrapped up at least, and we will work with them a little bit on any further follow-up. I believe the site contractor was also going to be on site cleaning up, doing some leveling and some loaming and seeding and just general site cleanup around wells 5 and 6 as well, and over at 4. So hopefully that looks nice and good. Let's see what else I got on my list here. I did get an update from the driller for the well 5 and 6 replacement work. We're hoping the week of May 25th to have the driller come out to install that 8-inch test well. And then next steps would be obviously permitting for the permanent well replacement. And we did submit the application to Mass DEP for the test well information for existing well number 5. So we're waiting to hear back from that. That usually does take some time for DEP, and with COVID, we have seen a little bit of delays with review periods. But that's the hope that that'll move forward. But in the meantime, we're working forward with the replacement test well 8-inch for the well 6 location, and yeah, that should be, hopefully again the next couple weeks we'll be starting that and get a pumping test for that work wrapped up in the next month or so. Let's see, I think that's pretty much it on the water side of things. If anybody has any questions, I'll open it up.
I think it's all good news. What punch list items remain, or is this list too long for this conversation at the treatment plant?
I would say the list is pretty lengthy. We haven't been out on site since we sent the list a couple weeks back to the contractor, so it was a 4-page list at the time.
Okay.
The hope is obviously that some of them have been cleaned up, but.
All right. At what point do we, tell them it's got to? Can we give them a deadline, or what is the standard procedure here?
So in the cover letter for the substantial completion acknowledgement, we indicated that all work shall be complete by July 1st. There are some obviously loaming and seeding and items that we want to wait till everything germinates and sticks. We do have a clause in here that we asked for the recycle tank number 2, which they were working on the leak there, to be repaired by May 1st, which we did place that into service last week, just waiting for some updates from the operators on once it settles out, just to kind of monitor the actual volume if there's any additional leaks found. So probably by the end of this week, hopefully, or early next week, we'll have a much better idea on whether or not that work's been completed. But otherwise, yeah, July 1st was kind of the cutoff date, so that kind of gives them a little over a month from now to wrap everything up on this list, which they have checked a bunch of the items off. We just need to get into the facility and check it out.
Sounds good. What if anything has been done about the Cape Cod berms at the paving? There was a whole bunch of either sniped or improperly installed berms.
That's listed on the punch list, and I will be checking that. That's an easy check for me to do while looking at something.
Right. Okay.
So I guess if there's no other questions, we do have estimate number 2 for KJF that I had emailed over to everybody yesterday, and that will be printed out for you to sign in person when you visit Frank in the office tomorrow, I believe. But it's pay estimate number 2. It's for a total of $487,000 and some change. So we recommend payment for that for all work completed through May 1st.
Sounds good. And they are responsible for the, I guess I'll call it the temporary paving this year, determining that overlaid by the town next year.
Yes, they have a temporary trench patch that goes in pretty much once a week, if not more. And they will be doing, after 90 days minimum of letting that settle, they'll put in a permanent patch, which is basically a cutback over the trench. And that'll probably be done in the fall. And then next year will be the permanent pavement, which will be completed by Keith's crews.
Okay, so I think that leads us to the sewer. Tara, if that's it for you.
That is on my end, yep.
Thank you very much.
All right.
it's good to hear the KKS folks are still on the progress, and 3/6 of pipe is that's fantastic. They'll be done in no time. Steve, are you out there?
I am here. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you loud and clear.
All right. As long as Lou can hear me. All right. So as far as the sewer project, since the last meeting a couple weeks ago, they have been out and done the milling and reclaiming on the Wheaton campus, as well as the paving on Route 140, Taunton Ave, and 123 from Taunton Ave up past Mansfield Ave. So those areas are currently milled down 2 inches. So they'd already done the permanent trench patch, and now they've milled out full lane width for the final 2-inch super paved top course, which was originally scheduled for today, and the paving contractor, as of yesterday, had to push it out to Thursday based on some of the weather they got at the end of last week, and we're a couple days behind. So they're scheduled to finish the paving on both Wheaton, Fillmore Drive, out through Howard Street, and then onto Taunton Ave and Route 123, the final 2-inch top course, and that is scheduled for Thursday. They also were out there end of last week and beginning of this week, reinstalling the loop detectors in advance of the final paving. So my understanding is those are all reinstalled in the street and brought out to the boxes. I did not hear today, but as of yesterday, the electrician still needs to come out and actually do the final wiring that's outside of the pavement limits. So they are all set to do that, and then the lights should go back onto the sensors, the loop detectors, and come off of the timer that they're on right now. So that's where we're at with the paving. The utility pole, so out at the pump station site, National Grid did install the new telephone pole about 10 feet off of the existing pole, I think, so that the contractor can do is drop from there and run the underground electric to the pump station. They are still waiting. I think they want to do that. So all that's left out at the pump station in terms of utilities is running the water, so the gas and electric, the length of the trench and across the street, and then the water still has to be across the street. So the 3 utility services to the pump station. So the gas company has their permit from Mass DOT to do the work across the road and make the connection. The contractor is waiting for them to actually schedule the work. And we don't have hopefully that's going to be soon. So once they have the power is the biggest one, getting the power so they can actually hook up the equipment in the station, but then they need the gas for the generator, and then obviously the water service. So that work is hopefully pending soon, based on the schedule of the gas company, unfortunately. So the unfortunate news is that we still do not have a formal response back from Mass DOT on the blasting permit that was submitted by the contractor. As we've discussed, they have permission to be working out there in the day, but the contractor at this point is unwilling to go back out there and hammer the rock in the location that they were at last year. We're trying to work with Mass DOT to resolve the blasting permit. And we're also trying to convince the contractor to get back out there and do some kind of construction. So after the paving's done tomorrow, other than the pump station work, we're in limbo a little bit, unfortunately, during these times when we would love to be getting pipe in the ground. But that's where we're at.
Right, very good. what is our next step? I mean, we all can agree there's no traffic. It's springtime.
Yeah.
How do we, I guess the most linear path would be to get a blasting permit.
That is the most linear path. Unfortunately, it's, you know, mostly out of our hands, other than we can continue to ask what we can do to expedite the process of at least finding out.
Right.
Mass DOT obviously has their concerns about it, but I'm curious to find out how those concerns outweigh their concerns about the hammering that's been going on. Because, you know, the lesser of two evils. You know, one way or another, they have to get the rock out of there. So I think it's really just going to come down to them putting some conditions on the contractor in terms of how they will allow the blasting to take place. And we just can't get those conditions out of Mass DOT. We're hoping to have that soon.
Right.
You know, the permit itself, the contractor's blasting sub or drilling subcontractor that would do the blasting submitted the permit itself at the end of March. And at that time, Mass DOT quoted that they would get an answer by May 12th, which is today. We've been pushing for a sooner answer, but I guess at least at this point, we are at the end of that window that Mass DOT quoted, so we can hopefully apply some more pressure to get an answer.
Right. And I know this is painfully obvious, but even if we had just a temporary permit for one round of drilling and a light shot of blasting, just I'm not going to call it experimental. I'm going to call it, you know, preliminary, the first round, and see the results. And like you said, there's going to be all kinds of restrictions, and we get that, but it's time to move. We really need to put this pipe in. And I know you all get it. I don't know how to convey that to the Mass DOT. And again, I know there are COVID concerns, but at a certain point, they need to move out on the road and get pipe in the ground.
Yes.
Steve, is it worth another email blast to everybody that they complained about us notifying the other time with the state reps and all?
Let me try.
Not just yet.
Not just yet, just because, I mean, we can go directly to the people that so when we did that before, it found its way onto the desk of the commissioner pretty quickly. So, and I now have a conduit to his top assistant who reached out to me and said, why did you do this to us? So I could try him.
I think that would be a very good avenue, and say, instead of, you know, ruffling the proposed feathers or we need an answer. And it's the 12th, or I guess tomorrow would be the 13th, but we need to know, and because, again, I'm only stating the painfully obvious. The contractor, the drilling contractor, is not sitting home on a couch. They're somewhere else, so they're going to have to mobilize and whatnot and bring their team over to Norton. So that's going to be a couple weeks, and that gives us absolutely no progress.
Yes, very frustrating.
Short term with no traffic and nice sunny days. I mean, these are good working days that we're losing because of the Mass DOT inactivity, really. And I get that they have to be careful and whatnot, but nothing's going to change. We need the answer and the requirements, and the sooner that happens, the better. And it's not. I don't know what else we can do, but that liaison that you have would be a great point to hit tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, I will try and make some progress on that tomorrow and check back in. I've checked in several times with our contacts, but I will reach out to him.
I know we're not the only project they have in front of them. It's the only one we have, or the only big one that we have on this scale. But it's just still, you know, I feel like maybe it takes them 2 hours to circle a couple emails, and it's not a lot of time for them. We need that push from those guys, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, waiting isn't doing it.
No, well, waiting does not put pipe in the ground.
I keep, you know, I have hope every morning that we're going to wake up to that email that at least gives us some sort of clarity on where we're headed.
Right.
I'll see what I can do
What else?
as far as pushing it, at least for an answer, and then
Right. No, I
we
get
can talk
you.
more about
I know.
it.
Yep. I know it's not for lack of effort on your part. I know you've. I see the email after email in your chains that fall across my early morning reviews with Paul and the others, and I know you're at it. It's just it's hard when you have a counterpart with the state that really isn't motivated to do anything. And I know, like I said, I know they have a lot going on, but we just need a couple minutes and a few of their people, and hopefully it happens this week.
Yes, I agree. So that's
What else does anybody have anything else out there?
No?
I'll take that as an invitation to remind everybody we have a meeting in 2 weeks. I am going to take a ride by the office and sign a bunch of bills tomorrow, along with the payment request for the Pine Street water main and whatever else is in front of me out there. Other than that, I think we've pretty much covered it. If in the interim things come up that you need to, either Frank or the office staff need to have us, I'm kind of available certain days. A lot of days I'm not close by, but I can make arrangements, and we'll deal with whatever comes up.
Very good.
I'm hoping someday in the near future we get to an actual face-to-face meeting. This virtual stuff is a drag. I lose my train of thought. I'm just terrible. I'm not.
I second that.
Very good, Mr. Bishop. We got no cookies. We don't even have the hermit or the nothing.
I know.
Was that Wiggins? Did I hear Wiggins out there?
He is.
Yeah. All right, Peter. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good, boss. Doing good.
Well, I'm glad to hear your voice. You staying safe and healthy?
Yes, staying safe and healthy, and we're going to get back to normal, May or June, right?
All right. I'm hoping. I'm with Wiggins. Let's hope for June, early in June. How about that?
And then hopefully vaccines and treatments will kind of work through a lot of testing, right?
Absolutely. Even better on the testing. Well, on that positive note, my friends, I'm gonna ask for Mr. Bishop's favorite motion.
Motion to adjourn, sir.
I'll second and say a good night to all, and thank you again.
All right. Have a good evening. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Good night,
Keep
Peter.
up the good work, Frank. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Shane and Steve.
This session is no longer being recorded.